Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video I'm gonna cover the modifiers in Jetpack Compose. If you have watched the last video of this playlist, then you know that we have used the modifier to set the size of our composable. In this video I will dive more deeply in the modifier and I will show you how it can be very useful. So the modifier in Jetpack Compose used to change the visual properties of a UI element. So let's say you want to change the size of your composable, or you want to add a background color, or you want to make your item clickable so you can get a click callback, or if you want to add padding, or many things actually, and I'm going to cover the most used ones in this video. So let's actually go to Android Studio and show you the most common used modifiers in Jetpack Compose. Okay, so first of all, let's create a box element here. And here, as you can see, by default, we are required to pass a modifier. However, we can just delete that and open the body of our box. But let's actually add the modifier attribute. And to add a modifier to composable, we can use the modifier class that comes from androidx.compose.ui. Because we have other modifiers class, so make sure to choose the right one that comes from compose.ui. Okay, now click on dot, and as you can see, we have a bunch of modifiers we can put or we can assign to this box. However, as I said, I'm going to cover the most used ones in Jetpack Compose. So let's start with the size modifier. So here we have a function called size, and inside here we can just specify a dB unit to size or to give a size to our box. So let's give this 100 dB, and now we want to import dB. And if we launch the app now, we won't actually be able to see the color of this box because it doesn't have any color. So to give a background color to your composable, there is also a modifier function called background. So here you can specify a color and a shape. So color, and let's make this red. And you can also pass a shape. By default, the shape here is set to rectangle shape. So we're gonna just pass the same thing in here and see our app. Okay, so here's our box. We give it a 100 dB for the size, red color, and the shape is rectangle shape. Now I'm gonna put each modifier function in new line. This way it looks more readable, so like that. Now for the size, if you actually want to specify the width individually, so you can say width, and here you can specify the size of your width. Let's give that 100 dB. Same thing for the height, so we can say height, and let's give that 200 dB. Let's launch the app to see that. And as you can see, here's our box with those values. Now we also have other stuff for specifying the size of our composable. So we have fill max size. So, okay, let me remove the modifier here, like that. And now let's launch the app. As you can see, the box here took the entire screen size. Now if you want your box to take a specific ratio of your box, so you can specify that ratio in here. So you can say 0.7f, and if we launch the app now, it will only take 0.7f of the screen. So this is a percentage at the end. We also have fill max width, and so this will just fill the entire width, and you can also specify a ratio in here. So you can say 0.5. Same thing for our height, so fill max height, and let's specify 0.5f in here. Now we launch the app, and as you can see, here's a box. You can actually remove this ratio if you want your box to take the maximum width. So as you can see, this is how the size system works with the modifier. Now let's go to a new line, and by the way, all the modifier functions that you assign to this box are applied sequentially. So Jetpack Compose will first apply the fill max width, then will apply the fill max height, then will apply your background. So your functions will be applied sequentially, and there's no limit for the function that you can add. So for example, here we add fill max width. We can also add it in here. So we can add fill max width again. So it's actually your choice, and this is very flexible. You'll see that when we actually design real UIs using Jetpack Compose, but for now, let's actually complete. For the next modifier we have, so let's add padding. Here you can actually specify a padding value. So as you can see, we can specify from the start 10 dB. You can also specify from the top 10 dB. For example, you can specify from the end 10 dB. You can specify from the bottom, but in my case I don't want to do that. Let's see the padding to our box now. And as you can see, the padding was not applied. Well, can you figure out the problem? Well, I just said it. The modifier functions here applied sequentially. So when we gave this a max width, it actually forgot about this padding. So if we want to consider this padding, make sure to add it before your size. So inside here, if you add a fixed size, so it's okay, you can add padding below or above your size. But in our case, when we added a fill max size, so fill max width or fill max height, consider to put your padding function above these size functions. So now if we start the app again, we would be able to see our padding, as you can see. Now what you can also do is to remove all of this and add just 10 dB here, so it will apply the padding from all the edges or all the sides, as you can see. What you can also do here is to specify horizontal, so from the start and the end you can make this 10 dB, so horizontal equal to start and end, as you can see. And you also have vertical, so you can specify padding for the top and the bottom. Okay, now let me remove everything we have typed so far, and let's actually create a box, new box here, and let's give this modifier.fillMaxSize, and I wanna center the element of this box in the middle, so we can pass center. I explained that in the past video. Here we actually want to have another box, and now I'm gonna give a size for this one 100 dB, and I want to also give a background color of, this time let's make it green here, like that. And let's actually launch the app. As you can see, here's our box, it's centered in the middle of the screen. Let me just put this background in a new line, and this size also. And now what I want to do is to convert the shape of this rectangle into a circle. So to do that, there's a modifier called clip. So we can say clip, and here we can pass a shape. So we have rectangle shape, we saw that previously. In this case, it will stay the same because it's the default shape of our box. And we also can specify a circle shape. And before I launch the app, make sure to also put this clip above your background, otherwise it won't be applied. So the ordering here is important in Jetpack Compose, especially with the modifier. So as you can see, here's our box, it's shaped like a circle. What we also have here is rounded corner shape. So this is just a rounded rectangle, so you can say rounded corner shape. And here you also specify the radius of your rectangle, so let's pass 10 dB. So you'll be able to see a radius to our corners, as you can see. So those are the shapes that you can pass to the clip modifier here. Now let's make this circle. And what you can do now with the modifier also, you can actually add a border. So you can say border. And here you specify the width of your border. Let's say 3 dB. You specify the color. So let's make this, let's type color, and let's make this red. And you specify the shape. So make sure to add the same shape you added to your clip, otherwise you'll get some weird looking to your UI. So here we can say shape and pass the circle shape. Let's launch the app to see our border, and here you go, we have a red border. So you can imagine that like it's a profile picture and you want to add border to that profile picture. This is actually used in most of the social media apps. With Compose is very simple and convenient. You can do that with a single line, but in XML that needs a whole lot of things. And what you can do now is to add more borders. So you can add another border here. You can say width, well, let's say 2 dB. You can add color. We can add color.black, and same thing for the shape. So rectangle or circle shape. Let's see our other border here. It might be not visible because let's actually make this 6. As you can see, now it's visible. So we applied the red border first, then we applied the black border. Now let's delete everything here. Let's actually make something exciting. So we're gonna create our own button. Instead of using the button composable, let's actually create our own button. So let's say box, let's say modifier dot width, let's give this 200 dB, and 100 dB for the height. And let's also add a background color, purple 700, this one. And we also want to clip that, so above the background modifier we want to clip that into a rounded corner, and we want to add 15 dB. And after that, let's open this and we want to write text, and let's say button. And now we want to center this text in the middle of our button, so content alignment, we can pass center. Let's see our button, and as you can see, we just created our own button. But for the text, let's actually make this color dot white, and for the width, I will just make it 150. Now let's see, let's launch the app again. And as you can see, here's our button, but we can't click on this. So to make the clickable, what we can do is to attach the clickable modifier. So that's how easy it is to implement a callback or a click callback to our composable. So we can pass print and we can say click. Let's actually change this print to look.d test. Here we can say click. Launch the app again. So let's take a look at filter about test. Click on button. As you can see, every time we click on button, we get this in the look at. Okay, now let's remove this box. Let's remove everything basically, and let's create our row. Let's give this the maximum size. So modifier dot fill max. Actually, let's give it the max width for now, and click on here. Now let's create two boxes in here, and let's give each one of them a background color of color.red. And we also wanna give this a height of 100 dB. Let's duplicate this. Notice that we have not specified the width of these boxes. Let's launch the app. We won't see them actually because they don't have any width. Now what we can actually do here is to give a weight instead of our width and give 1F. Same thing in here. Now this weight modifier is only available inside a row scope or a column scope. Now if we launch the app again, we would see our boxes. As you can see, you can actually see them as a one box because we don't have any spacing between them. So if you actually want to make spacing in inside a row or column, you can use spacer. So this is just a composable. Here you can say modifier dot width, and let's make this 5 dB spacing. Let's launch the app again, and as you can see, we have the first box here. It took 1F, so basically we distribute the size or the width of this row between the box here and this box. So each one of them took the half amount, regardless of this spacer dB, 5 dB. So we actually just gave the half amount for this one and this one. So if you actually now make this 2F, as you can see, this took the double amount of size that this box takes because we specified 2 in here. Now I hope you got the idea of the weight modifier, and I think that this is enough for this video. I think I have covered about 12-13 modifiers. Those are actually used pretty much in every composable, so it's very important to know them, and they are enough for now. You will actually know more modifiers when you start building UIs. So the modifier is very simple thing and it's very useful in Jetpack Compose, and we're gonna use it a lot in this playlist, especially when we build UIs. So guys, that was all for this video. I hope you gained some new information. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great day and catch you in the next video.